This is Pastors Live, a Rev FM production podcast. Join Pastors Dave, Ty, and Shane for a fresh, fun, and often unpredictable take on faith, the Bible, and the world around us.
Hey everybody, it's Pastors Live. It's Monday. It's Monday, January 12th. This means we've probably all quit our New Year's resolutions. However, Dean hasn't shown up at Donuts, so I think we're doing okay.
Right.
And so we're blessed by that. Today is also this is an important day for the guys in the studio. I'm just saying. First of all,
Everybody listen up. This is really important.
Yeah, this one's really important. This is Kiss a Ginger Day.
I love that.
I promise. Cross my heart.
Yeah, cross your heart. Well,
I want to do it.
So, am I the? Carrie's not a ginger, is she?
No.
No, okay, I didn't.
No,
okay,
no,
but for Shane, Dave, and Dave, because we have Dave squared here again today.
Right. My other brother, Dave.
Yeah, Dave, my other brother, Dave. By the way, guys, it's also Work Harder Day, and so.
If you're married to a ginger,
you're working hard. Yeah, you do. Yeah, absolutely.
That's a lot of hard work.
That's a lot of work. Yeah. Hey, so we do have some things we want to talk about. First of all,
Ty, hold on. Hold it.
Yeah.
Lori is married to a ginger. You're a redhead.
Yes. Well, I still have some left in the beard. Yeah.
So I think you should hold her to that.
You know what? I will. I'll hold her to that today.
I don't think she'll mind.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I've seen the way she looks at you. I think if you ask her out, she'd go out with you.
You know what? I think she might.
How many years you guys been married?
32.
32. She'll go out with you.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I think I think she should. We just went through that season where everybody's been sick.
And the reason it's important is because I happen to know your wife's life verse.
Yes, it's in our Bible reading today.
Yes, it is.
And it's Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, right? Which
That's
is
our girl.
Trust in the Lord with all your heart, lean not on your own understanding, in all your ways acknowledge Him, and He shall direct your path.
If that doesn't get you a kiss, nothing will.
Yeah, right.
She owes you now.
Yeah, she does. That's right. Yeah, I shared my wife's life verse. That's it.
There it is.
Well, and I asked her one time. I said, "Why is that your life verse?" And she goes, "That's the one people just always kept telling me."
Oh, interesting.
So trust in the Lord with all your heart.
My life verse is Proverbs 30, verse 2. Surely I am more stupid than any man.
Right. For me, the one that I keep coming back to is James 4:17 throughout my life, which is to him who knows to do good and does not do it, to him it is sin. Mm-hmm. Of course, I can't. I memorized it in the archaic language, so I still say it that way. But I think that. Have you guys noticed that, by the way, Dave? What kind of Bible do you use, Dave, when you're teaching?
I use the real Bible. It's. I ask a guy, "What do you think of all the versions?"
Well, I say translations because version sounds like an upgrade, but
I said, what do you of all the versions? I'm asking this seasoned pastor, right?
Right.
Which one do you believe is the best? He says, without a doubt, the large print version. The large print.
That kind of is an upgrade then.
Okay, I'm never going to forget that. That's awesome.
So, anyway,
that's funny.
By the way, listen, the genuine proof that you're a gingy is that you've got an attitude to go with it.
That's right.
Oh, absolutely,
right.
100%. No, I definitely have the attitude. Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
I'm married to one, so I know.
I was
zero to flame on in 4 seconds.
Oh, buddy, right?
Yeah. So anyway, that's King David, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But when you guys like Bible translate, I know that I use ESV, NASB. I teach from New King James primarily just because I grew up on it. Dave, you've got a King James, you have NASB, you have ESV, and other things like that. What Bible translations do you normally use in your studies or in your
teachings?
Your teachings?
Typically, I use the NIV for the most part, but in my teachings, I'll use whatever verse happens to bring it home the best.
Yeah, whichever one's going to connect it.
Right?
Right.
Yeah, but as far as right now, I just bought this new Bible. It's called the Tree of Life, and it's written by.
It's all shiny and everything.
I know. I bought this.
It's NLT, isn't it?
This is the first Bible I've bought in years, but it was written by, I think, a rabbi by the name of Jason Sobel. Anyway, he's the guy who kind of coaches the chosen to stay biblically in their filmings,
Oh, interesting.
And so anyway, I was reading some of his stuff, and he was telling in this thing I was reading that this is what he uses, and it's really interesting because it's Hebrew in terms of chronological order, but
Right.
it's it's more.
So it's set up more like the Tanakh than it is our English Bible.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And by the way, if you guys don't know what the Tanakh is, that Tanakh is the abbreviated version that deals with Torah, the Nevi'im, and the Kevaim, which are basically the Torah, the law, and the prophets. And so, like in that particular Bible, you have Kings. You don't have First and Second Kings. You have Chronicles. You don't have First and Second Chronicles.
Yeah.
Is that set up with the Book of the 12 as well? Do they do the same thing with
the other thing is that
prophets?
Ruth is not in the place that it is in the typical Bible.
Right.
It shows up at chronologically. And so it's pretty interesting for any of our people. It's beginning of the new year. One of the best things they could do is read the Bible in chronological order, because it really helps people to understand. Oh, I didn't realize this is where that comes in at.
Right, and I think that's an interesting thing when you think about how the prophets lay in.
Yeah.
Because most of us don't realize the narrative actually ends at the building of the Second Temple, and that's where the narrative of the Old Testament ends. And then you have all this, and we have a tendency to read the prophets like, oh, well, this is chronological, not realizing, hey, these prophets were actually prophesying here, and then you have the post-exilic prophets, and you have the pre-exilic prophets, and a lot of times people just don't know that because they don't know their biblical history, and that's very, very confusing to people, and also not understanding biblical poetry. They not realizing that sometimes you don't have two prophecies; you have the same prophecy shared twice because it's in a poetic passage. A lot of that we find in the Psalms and other places as well. And I do appreciate that, I did appreciate that the when they did the New King James, they laid the Old Testament out when it was, when it was in poetry form. They laid that out, so it's easier for us to see now. But that's an interesting thing that you have. I have a chronological Bible. I have a Reese chronological Bible from many years ago, which is in the King James Version. I loved reading through that.
Well, the nice thing about it is people have no idea. Most people have no idea that the entire Old Testament is completed when you're done reading Second Chronicles. All the rest of the Bible fits in between Genesis and the end of Second Chronicles.
Right.
And so the beauty of reading that chronologically is because you see how the Bible actually comes together at the appropriate time. So, out of the white spot walks Ruth, out of the white spot walks Esther, and you see it in the chronological order, and I think that helps us to have a better understanding.
Yeah, I think I know it does for me as well.
Yeah.
I've always really appreciated that. I was talking with one of my cousins the other day, and they were struggling a little bit with Genesis 10, the Table of Nations, and the Babel, because the Table of Nations deals with Magog and the nations being named, and they were all divided up by their language, and then we see the event.
Yeah.
Right. And I had to explain to okay, it's like Genesis 1, Genesis 2. You are seeing something that is telling you something, kind of almost foreshadowing what you're about to read. This is how this came about.
Yeah.
But it let me know that they were paying attention. They were paying attention to what they were doing, right?
Exactly. I love the way you explain that. That's great.
Well, it's helpful because I think some people misunderstand that. They think, did this happen twice? Did it, what happened? And it was kind of fun the other day. I was talking to somebody and they were really confused because they were reading a Matthew Henry's commentary. And I'm like, I don't think anybody's updated Matthew Henry. I don't know. It's like some of his language is so archaic, because of when he wrote, and nobody's taking the time to update him. How sometimes you get Spurgeon updated, with modern language, things like that. Those are helpful things, but reading through the Bible in a chronological form. But when it comes to Bible translations, I think it's helpful. Read the one that you're going to read. Find one you're going to read that you want to read, but also there's a lot of conversation about textual criticism that goes around. And that's one of the things I love about going to Israel, is because when you go to the Shrine of the Book, it kind of helps you understand a little bit about the how God has kept his word.
Yeah.
You see the scroll of Isaiah, and you see these different things from the Dead Sea Scrolls. And that really, of course, that's right outside of you have the big model of the, Jerusalem from the first century, and then you go in and there's the scroll of Isaiah. just laid out. And it's amazing to me to know that we can trust the Bible that we have.
Yeah.
I can trust the Bible. Right. One of my professors, Dr. Allen, was on the team that translated the New King James Bible back in the day, and he was responsible for a huge portion of the Old Testament. And he's the only professor I've ever had that's actually used New King James. So, because I was like,
now that's funny.
Yeah, it is. I thought it was really funny too. He's like, he trusts that he trusts it, So that was just one of those things. I thought, man, that's just really interesting. So, but this is the Tree of Life translation.
Yeah.
Is that so? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I have not heard of that one. So that one is. I'm gonna have to do some.
I know,
do
right?
some reading. Yeah, that's a new one.
I was looking at it earlier. I like this Bible.
They use the names of God in the Hebrew so that you could actually, hey, I'm going to park there. I'm going to find out what that name actually means. So instead of just using God, it's a specific reference to that specific name of God.
Right. Okay.
So yeah. It's for people who like to chase rabbits and park and just
that's great.
Pastors.
It's great. Yeah,
pastors. Yeah.
What? So yeah, you sort of answered. I had to move that microphone. I couldn't see you.
Sorry. I was like,
I kept looking between the two arms, trying to keep your eyes. I'm like, sorry. Okay, I'm moving that stupid microphone. I got to see time, because I'm ADHD squirrel. Anyway, you've sort of answered the question already, Ty, but it made me think. The other day we talked about this book from Kufi, Why Israel? Great book. If you'd like a copy of it, you can write to me, dave@watersprings.net, or write to us here at pastorslive@therev.fm, pastorslive@therev.fm. I've got about 6 copies that I'm willing to part with. But we talked about why Israel. Now let me ask the question a different way, for especially you two guys, because I know how much you love Israel, and like me, you love to travel and go to Israel. So here's the question: why go to Israel? Not just why Israel, but why should Christians go to Israel?
Well, the first thing that comes to my mind is it spatially. Okay, so I'm an artist. I love art. I love to draw, and I'm very visual when I think. And for me, one of the things that happened, you talk about that aha moment, Dave. You talked about that a couple. I think it was last week.
Yeah, on Friday, I think.
I was my first time there. I didn't travel well. I was feeling really nauseous. Wasn't feeling good. We landed in Tel Aviv, and then we went to Tiberias, and then I got up that morning and I just walked out on this big open deck, and of course it was early spring, so we were about to hit Passover when we were there. It was early spring, so nothing was set up outside, no tables or umbrellas. But I just went out and I stood and I watched the sunrise, and basically I would have been looking at the area of the Gadarenes, so where I was, right? So I've been where the sun's coming up, and I just sat there and I was just started to cry, and what happened for me was I was at peace, but I felt like I'd been there before. If that it's kind of a crazy. I felt like I'd been there before. And Chuck Missler, God bless that man. The man never slept.
Great guy,
right? So Chuck Missler comes out and he's standing next to me, and I explained to him. I said I don't understand. I said this feels familiar to me. I've never been here, but it feels familiar. And he said, you may not have been here, but the God who lives in you has been here before. And the God who lives in you made all of this. And this is the sea that he walked on. And this, and he kind of
explained
to me.
That's a Misslerism.
Right,
I love
yeah,
it.
Right. And so just that reality, right? And then we were having a little bit more conversation, and he started pointing things out to me, because obviously Chuck had been there so many times, and the moment clicked for me to say that, and I realized that when it says that they watched him and they followed him around the sea, and all of a sudden the reality of that, I mean, Redfish Lake is bigger than the Sea of Galilee. right? And so you don't understand what's happening is if he was crossing in a boat, everyone could see him crossing in a boat. They're going to be able to meet him on the other side. They're going to make haste to do it, but they're going to meet him on the other side. And all of a sudden, my ability to understand how close things were made sense, right?
Yeah.
Jesus walked everywhere. We have a tendency to think, oh, well, he went to Jerusalem. And of course, as I'm growing up, I'm thinking, oh, that's from Idaho Falls to Salt Lake. Right? Yeah. No, that's the entire country. I mean, you know, and so you begin to realize how close things were, and it actually helped me understand the scriptures better, understanding how close and how small the land is that we know as Israel today. Obviously, the promised land was larger than that.
Sure.
And
it will be again.
It will be
Isaiah,
again, right? But
or Ezekiel, pardon me.
For me, it was like going to Bible college. It really made my Bible make more sense regarding where things were or what is happening. And so for me to go as a Bible student, to go helps you understand the people's places and things better. You begin to understand where wars were fought, where things happened, why things happened, and you begin to realize will happen. You begin to realize how tight things are. You know, when Jesus walked from here to there, it was a 45-minute walk. It wasn't. It wasn't. You know, it was an hour and a half. It's not days. You know, and so it was. You know, it was close. Yeah, for me that was a big deal.
Yeah,
just
Dave,
to make things spatially make sense.
Why should people go to Israel?
That's well put. Well put. You know, my first trip there was 1995. I've been back over 50 times, and it never gets old. But the people there have a saying, especially when they cross paths with Christians, they'll say, "Welcome home."
They do.
We heard that a lot.
Welcome home, because that's kind of the way you feel. But for me, I used to say to the group that I was in, I didn't know the people in the group, I just signed up for the trip. I would say to the guy next to me, would you pinch me really hard to make sure I'm not dreaming this? Because what I'm standing here looking at, where I'm standing, it's places I had read about, studied about, preached about, taught about, but never been there. And once you finally are there, it's just this wow factor and the reality. This is where those people, the saints of old, the people I've read about, the Messiah himself, this is where I'm walking in the dust of them and seeing this, because the geography hasn't changed. So when you lay your eyes upon, I look into the hills, where does my help come from? You know, you're looking at the hills, you're experiencing, the lake is still the same. So there's proximity that you mentioned is outstanding. I mean, it really causes things to come together.
When you guys first went, we used to go up, the first time I was there, we went up the Red Road. So we went through Jericho, and so we went up that way before the new highway was built.
Right.
And so we would go up there, and that's where the Psalms of Ascent made sense to me for the first time. Right? Because this is the road up from that valley floor up to Jerusalem, where they would be singing these Psalms of Ascent. And so Zacchaeus and all these things that happen in that space, obviously not safe right now to go that route. But all those things all of a sudden made a lot of sense to me. It's really weird when you're on the new highway because you're up so high. And you kind of come across the top and you don't get that feeling of ascent like you did from the valley floor. All of a sudden, all those Psalms began to make way more sense to me when it says, I look to the hills. From where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, but you're walking up and you think about, you're walking with your children. And if you've ever hiked with children, hey, look, we used hard candy as encouragement. Like they didn't, I don't know what that was for them, but to tell the children, look up because that's where your help comes from. Right? Daddy, I'm tired. It's hard. It's all these steps to do this, to climb up this, to up there. And to say, this is the psalm that we sing, the Lord is my help. To teach our children, the Lord is their help in those times of troubles and difficulties. What a beautiful thing. And that occurred to me on that road up
Because you were there.
because I was there.
Yeah.
A guy asked me the other day, a guy from our church asked the other day, he says, Dave, all the stuff that's going on in the world right now, how do I answer people who say Jesus was a refugee? And I thought, man, I wish you would go to Israel with us because you can see it. You'll know Nazareth is up north. You'll know that Bethlehem is down south. You'll know that it was all they were under the Roman Empire. You'll know why when we read the book of Ruth, why that's so important to us, that Boaz came from Bethlehem, and then Boaz and Ruth have Obed, Obed has Jesse, Jesse has David, the son of David is Jesus. Jesus wasn't a refugee. Jesus was coming home. And so I was able to share all that with him, and he goes, oh, wow, I'm going to go back and read the book of Ruth again. I go, yeah, I think it's a good idea. And I just thought to myself, you know what else is a good idea? Stinking go to Israel. Because when you see it, all of that makes sense. And those silly arguments that people make on social media and whatnot, they just disappear. You're like, nah.
Well, I think part of it, too, is I used to refer to it as a disassociated argument. It's like when you're a kid, I don't like broccoli. Have you ever tried broccoli? No. And it's just, I think sometimes it's like, hey, I'm going to be super anti-Israel, but you don't know any Jews and you don't know the people and you've never been there. You don't understand the situation. And I'll be honest with you guys, when it comes to the difficulty of military issues, right?
Yeah.
When you are there, you begin to realize why Israel functions the way they do.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
They are surrounded by their enemies.
Yep.
And
tough neighborhood.
It's a tough neighborhood. That's a great way. They live in a tough neighborhood.
If everybody in Ammon and Yukon and Blackfoot wanted to kill everybody in Idaho Falls, you'd understand Israel.
Yeah, you would. You would absolutely understand Israel. Hey, listen, we're out of time for today, but if you have a comment or question, please send it to Pastor Ty. No, not that one. No, just send it to.
Do that. Sure.
Yeah, no. Just send it to the Rev. Pastors Live at the Rev.fm. Pastors Live at the Rev.fm. I looked over at the window. It was gone. I did. I looked at it. It was gone. I
wasn't going to tease you, bro.
I know. It's like, you know what? It's like It's like, man, I used to get cheese when I got to the end of the maze. So, but again, if you want to get a hold of Dave at CUFI, please reach out to us here, or you can go to CUFI.org and check out the organization there. Hey, listen, you're loved, your family. God bless you. We will talk to you again tomorrow.
You've been listening to Pastors Live, a Rev FM production podcast. Join us again for more Bible talk, laughter, and unexpected tangents. Questions or feedback? Pastors Live at the Rev.fm. And don't forget to subscribe and leave a review.